بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to start another section of the book al-Mahajjat al-Bayda fi tahdhib al-ihya. As you remember, we said this book is a kind of selection and commentary by the late Mullah Muhsin Fayd Kashani on the book Ihya Ulum ad-Din by Ghazali. It's one of the masterpieces in Islamic ethics. We discussed the part about hope or raja before New Year, and now we do the part on khawf, on fear. We had 6 sessions on the section on Raja, plus a final session where I try to expand outside the box of the book the discussion about hope. So at least maybe you can, watch the last part if you are new to this course. So from page 269 of volume 7. This book comes in 8 volumes, but sometimes printed in 4 very thick volumes. So 8 parts, but maybe in 4 volumes or 8 volumes. This is volume 7, page 269. الشطر الثاني من الكتاب في الخوف. The second part of the book, this book here means section. كتاب الخوف والرجاء. So if the first part finished, the second part. The thing that we are going, inshallah, to discuss, one is حقيقة الخوف, بيان حقيقة. What is the reality of fear? What do we mean by fear? What is the definition of fear? وبيان درجات الخوف, the ranks, the degrees. It's not that everyone has the same level of fear if they do have fear. وَبَيَانُ أَقْسَامِ الْمَخَاوِفِ. Also, there are different types of fear. So, different degrees and different types. وَبَيَانُ فَضِيلَةِ الْخَوْفِ. What is the merit of khawf? وَبَيَانُ الْأَفْضَلِ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالرَّجَاءِ. Which of these two is better? Is khawf better or raja? Is fear better or hope? وَبَيَانُ دَوَاءِ الْخَوْفِ. What is the remedy for fear? What is the medicine? وَبَيَانُ مَعْنَى سُوءِ الْخَاتِمَةِ. One of the things that causes worry is how we are going to end our life. So we are going to talk about su'ul khatima versus husnul khatima, the bad ending and good ending. وَبَيَانُ أَحْوَالِ الْخَائِفِينَ مِنَ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ وَالصَّالِحِينَ. We will also talk about some of the conditions of people who had fear, such as prophets and the righteous people. As examples, but like case study, we will refer to some of their conditions. So, 1. حقيقة الخوف. 2. درجات الخوف. 3. أقسام المخاوف. 4. فضيلة الخوف. 5. الأفضل من الخوف والرجاء. 6. دواء الخوف. 7. معنى سوء الخاتمة. 8. بيان أحوال الخوف. So there are 8 headings here that we are going to, inshallah, discuss. Okay, now let's start with the first one. حقيقة الخوف. What is the reality of khawf? What do you mean? by khawf. If you remember about raja, we said what is the reality of raja? We said raja is irtiyahul qalb. It's a condition when your heart is comfortable, is happy, because of possibility of something which is expected may happen. Okay? Something is mutawaqqa, is expected, there is something positive that you aspire to, and it's going to happen, hopefully. It's hope. But we said this is hope if some of the things which are needed are there. Some of the asbab are there. If there is no asbab and you are very happy and hopeful, like someone who has not gone to school and says, I'm going to get good result, we said this is not khawf. Remember what is this called? We said this is called al-humq wal-ghurur. We said this is sometimes, foolishness or deception. But if we have done something, maybe 50%, 60%, 70%, we see already is achieved. We hope for that. For example, a farmer that we said has prepared the soil, the land, has removed the weed, has planted the saplings, whatever, looked after it, but doesn't know how it's going to be, for example, the rain, or how is it going to be, for example, sunshine. There is hope. Okay, that was discussion about hope. If you want the definition of hope, it was on the page 249. Now, what is khawf? اعلم أن الخوف عبارة عن تعلم القلب. تعلم with hamza, not with ayn. تعلم means learning from ilm. But ta'allum with hamza comes from alam. Alam is pain. Yeah, alam means pain. Ta'allum al-qalb means your heart has pain. Wahtiraqi is it burning. Khawf is when your heart has pain and is burning. Why? Because something disliked might happen in future. Remember, khawf is always about something which may happen in future. Khawf is not something that is bad in the past, for example. Yeah, that is huzn. Okay? If you have missed something good in the past, or if a tragedy happened in the past, we don't say khawf, we say huzn. This is grief, this is sadness. Khawf is always about future. Even if you say, I'm worried that right now something may happen, again, it is future. Because this is not exactly now. You mean the next minute, for example, the next second. Okay, it's future. So, تعلم القلب واحتراقه بسبب توقع مكروه في الاستقبال. Your heart is in pain and burns because there is possibility something makruh, something disliked is going to happen. Yeah, this is the meaning of khawf. And when you understood the discussion about hope, you realize that khawf and raja are very much, related to each other. Although raja and khawf are not opposite to each other. Yeah, what is opposite to raja? Yes, yeah, hopelessness, despair. The opposite to raja is having no hope. So, khawf and raja are two conditions that are related to each other, but it's not that one is the opposite to the other. Okay, someone may have no hope and no fear. No hope and no fear. It's possible. Like those who are aware of the situation. So, Ghazali here has, and then Mullah Mohsen Faiz has also brought it, a few lines that we can inshallah explain this more in future. But to give you an idea They say that khawf is a good condition, but not for those who are very, very advanced. Those who are very, very advanced, they reach the point that they have no fear. Of course, we will explain fear about what, because even Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, they had fear, but their fear was different from fear of someone who has fear for losing worldly things, or fear for example, that Allah might be, punishing me, etc. He may not be happy, kind with me. He may not be merciful with me. No, people have different reasons for fear, but from a spiritual perspective, this is just a hint for future. Maybe it was better not to say it now, but because it's in the book, I have to say it. So it's a condition for people who are at the beginning or intermediate level, but those who are very advanced, they may reach the point that they have no fear. Okay, like people who are in heaven. La khawfun alayhim wa lahum yahzanun, or awliyaullah, also la khawfun alayhim wa lahum yahzanun. We have lots of things to say, so just please be patient. Little by little, we will talk about these things. He says, Man anasa billah wa malak al-haq qalbahu. If someone is very acquainted with Allah, is very familiar with Allah, ons means acquaintance with something. If someone is very acquainted with Allah and haq owns his or her heart, wasara ibn waqtihi. This is a mystical expression. Have you heard ibn al-waqt? Be child of your time. This means to live the present moment. Okay? So mystics say that you should take the best and the most out of your present moment. If you think too much about the past or too much about future, then you miss great opportunity. We have a hadith that ma fata maza. The past has gone. Wama ya'tika fa'ain. Future also is not there, has not yet come. Okay, so the past has gone, future has not yet come. فَاغْتَنِمِ الْفُرْصَةَ بَيْنَ الْعَدَمَيْنِ. So take the opportunity of the present moment. The past finished, future has not come. So these are two Adam. Benefit from the present moment. This doesn't mean that we should not think about the past, we should not prepare for future. But it means that unfortunately many times either we are stuck in the past, or we are too much worried about future, and we don't pay attention to the present moment and to the people that we are dealing with them right now. We are thinking about, for example, people that we have lost, okay, or the people that we may lose in future, but we don't appreciate that right now we are together. We can see each other, we can talk to each other, we can meet each other. So this is for everything. This is a very important discussion. Even Christians, they have this discussion about the present moment. We have in Irfan also this discussion. So he says, if someone is acquainted with Allah and Allah is owning his heart and has become the child of his time, okay, and has started witnessing the beauty of Allah all the time, then he has no attention to future, so that he has fear. Okay? Even he doesn't have that much thinking about future, so that he has hope, not because he's hopeless. He's so much concerned about the present moment that he has no even positive expectation for tomorrow, because very much appreciates the present moment. Please don't get it wrong, and we will talk about all these things, inshallah, little by little. This is just a glance at what mystics may go through. So he says such people, their condition becomes أعلى من الخوف والرجاء. They will be in a level higher than khawf and raja, because they are so much attracted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and so much appreciate the present moment and all the blessings which are there, that they are not thinking about future. Okay? If they start thinking about future, they will have, khawf and raja. But right now, they are very much preoccupied with appreciation of what is available. One of the spiritual, people, his name is called Wasati. He said, "Al-khawfu hijabun bayna Allah wa bayna al-abd." From that point of view, fear is a veil, is an obstacle between Allah and abd. Because if you have no fear and you can see all the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will enjoy even more. But some people, unfortunately, they may not be prepared for that. And when they see how much Allah has love and rahmah, instead of appreciating, they may become lazy or careless. Yeah? If they know how much Allah loves them, then there is a conversation. They say one of the, spiritual people had a kind of, maybe it's imagination, of course, conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah said, "Do you want me to tell people and inform people about your reality so that no one respect you?" And he said, "Do you want me to tell people about your reality so that no one fears you?" If I tell people how kind you are and how merciful, then no one is going to fear you and obey you. Then they say, Allah said, "No, you keep silent, I keep silent." So, if people know how much Allah is kind and merciful, there is a chance that, unfortunately, they may develop carelessness. Yeah, they may lose the sense of haya. This is why we should always give people both hope and fear. If we talk too much about hope, they become careless. If we talk too much about fear, they lose hope. So we have to have the balance. So Wasiti says, "Al-khawfu hijabun bayna Allah wa bayna al-abd." Also, he said, إذا ظهر الحق على السرائر لا يبقى فيها فضل للرجاء ولا خوف. If the hidden things become manifest, for example, on the Day of Judgment, then there is no merit in fear or hope, when everything is visible and is clear. In any case, Ghazali says, and Mullah Mohsen also has kept this, that المحب إذا شغل قلبه في مشاهدة المحبوب بخوف الفراق كان ذلك نقصا في الشهود. If a lover of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in front of Allah, when he is witnessing Allah, keeps worrying that what happens if I'm going to lose him? What happens if I'm going to do something bad? This will cause that he would not enjoy being with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah? So the balance is very important. Like, for example, if someone has come to visit you, for maybe your mother, I don't know, your child, after some time, if you think too much that, again, this person is going to leave me, then you are not going to enjoy the time you are together. You make this, a bitter experience. You keep crying, why? Because you are going to leave me. Yeah? So you have to appreciate the present. Of course, it's better also to remember that it's not going to remain for a long time. So you take every second together as a precious thing. إنما دوام الشهود غاية المقامات. The ultimate maqam, station, is when you are continuously doing shuhud, you are continuously witnessing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? But that is the ultimate. He says we are talking about awailul maqamat. We are talking about the early stations, yeah, beginning of the process. Otherwise, someone who is in that ultimate situation should be always just, busy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. خب فنقول, now let us start the discussion. After the initial definition, he says, like hope, here we have ilm, wa hal, wa amal. There needs to be some understanding, there is a condition, and there is also practice. What is ilm? What is the knowledge or understanding that we need for fear? He says, al-ilm bisabab al-mufdi ila al-makruh. When you have knowledge about what can cause problem, can cause something which is disliked, that creates fear. For example, he says a criminal who has rebelled against the king, who has done something wrong, okay, now is fearful that if this is known, this is found out, what's going to happen to me? Okay, so you have knowledge that something bad is done by you and you are worried about the consequences. Okay, so there must be some knowledge about something which is makruh, which has happened, and you are worried that it may lead to more consequences. So this person is worried that he might be punished, but at the same time say, I might be forgiven. So he has fear, but he's not 100% sure that he's going to be punished. لكن يكون تعلم قلبه بالخوف. He has pain in his heart because he's worried, he's fearful. Okay? And then depending on what was his crime, the fear can intensify. Yeah? If he has, for example, I don't know, just crossed the red light, that's one thing. But if he has killed someone, it's another thing. If he has killed kings, for example, people or king's children, so the intensity of fear can change. Also, is this king a king which is haqud, someone who is never able to forgive, or is a kind king? Is different. Is this a king that retaliates quickly or is patient? So the qualities of that king, the qualities of your bad action, all can interfere or can play a role in determining the level of fear. Do you have something that can cause forgiveness? This is another factor. For example, do you have a good history with this king? Have you done some services that because of those services your punishment can stop or can be reduced? This is another factor. Okay? So the personality of the king, the nature of your crime, your history with the king and your previous actions all can bear on this. So العلم بأسباب المكروه هو السبب الباعث المثير لاحتراق القلب. So knowledge about the things that can lead to what is disliked, like punishment here, this knowledge can cause pain and burning in the heart. This is fear. When it comes to our relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is something that we need to discuss a lot. Here there are few things. One, your ma'rifah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ma'rifah of His attributes. So, al-khawfu min Allah, in the state that we said, how much you know this king, what kind of king is this person, okay? Here, how much you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how much you know His qualities. This is one point. Another thing is how much you know about yourself and your actions. What have you done? This is also another factor. Sometimes one of these factors, sometimes both of them are working together to create fear. When it comes to the people that they have great ma'rifah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have then greatest regard for Him, greatest awe towards Him. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, according to a hadith that here it's quoted from Bukhari, he said, "Ana akhwafukum lillah." I am the person who has the greatest fear with respect to Allah among you. Okay, so means among this ummah and or among humanity, my fear for Allah is the most. Why? Not because Allah is frightening. No, because he knows Allah's greatness and he feels so humble in front of Him that he knows that whatever he does is not enough. He considers that he's a disobedient one, he's a rebellious one, he's a person who is not grateful. Okay? Or Quran says, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء. Surah Fatir, verse 28, this famous ayah. Among people, who are the people who have khashya of Allah? Ulama, people who have knowledge. Because those who are ignorant, they don't know Allah, and therefore they don't have a special regard for Him. So people who have khashya from Allah are the people who have knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you have more knowledge, more ma'rifah, you feel more humble and you feel more worried about what you do in front of such, Lord. And then the result of this burning, this ihtiraq, this pain, alam in your self, can appear on body, on organs, and on your attributes. For example, when it comes to body, people who have great khawf, sometimes it affects their body. They become very thin. Okay? It's not that everyone who is thin has khawf or everyone who is fat doesn't have, but sometimes this is one factor. They become very thin. They look very pale, or we say, yellow. Sofra is pale. And sometimes, they cannot sleep too much. They cannot eat, because they are too much taken by this kind of khashya. When it comes to organs, to jawareh, this was body. When it comes to their organs, fear stops them from doing anything bad, any haram. Anything that is displeasing to Allah, they will not do it. And when it comes to their sifat, to their qualities and attributes, fear causes losing shahawat. They don't have lower desires. They don't have, appetite for doing things that, people of dunya are interested in. Some people fight over things that, give them some pleasure or satisfaction, and these people have no interest in those things. Like, sometimes when we grow, we lose our interest in the things that give pleasure to children. Because you are in a higher level. They have pleasure in things that for us, we think it's waste of time. Yeah, children, day and night are happy to play. But for us, we have to force ourselves to play with them. It's not that we want to play with them, unless sometimes some people, love to play PlayStation with children. But many parents, they don't have that much interest, and they just want to be with their children, so they force themselves to feel like them and play with them without them feeling that they don't enjoy. Yeah, you want them to feel that you are like them. In hadith says, man kana lahu sabiyun falyatasabba. If you have a child, you have to become like child. Means in action, not in understanding. So in action, you act like a child. But you don't have that pleasure. Okay? The same is with Orafa. I remember, that's remembered now, one of my teachers, the late Ayatollah Ahmad Mianaji, he used to give us Dars Akhlaq. He said, sometimes I look at my grandchildren and I see, they are crying very hard for example, one of them has taken one piece of crisp from the other one. He's crying hard, tears are coming, and he says, he said it's childish. And I say to Allah, you look at us also and feel the same, that many of the things that, we fight and, compete or, cry, for someone in a higher level is like a child crying over a piece of crisp.
Sorry, Sheikh, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
When you say fear of Allah, do you mean fear of displeasing Him or fear of punishment?
There are different things for different people. So we will discuss, inshallah. So one is fear of punishment. One is fear of not being able to be grateful enough, not being able to match His kindness. Yeah. So he says, when someone has khawf, this removes shahawat. Yaqma' ash-shahawat, destroys shahawat. He's no longer enjoying what gives pleasure to other people. وَيُكَدِّرُ اللَّذَّاتِ, and is making your lazat not pure and free from pain. Imagine if you are, for example, always enjoying having nice, biryani or pizza, okay? But you are under bombardment. Will you enjoy that? You're not going to enjoy. Or even if you enjoy is 1%, because there is something bigger that is happening, doesn't let you enjoy. So people who have fear of akhirah or fear of not being a good servant, etc., they don't enjoy that much things that give pleasure to other people. Not because they totally have no interest. Sometimes they have lost interest. When you grow, you lose interest. Sometimes no, still they have interest. They also enjoy delicious food. But they are busy with more important things and concerned with more important things, that they don't enjoy that much things that other people enjoy. Okay? For example, he says, imagine someone very much likes honey. Another example. If someone very much likes honey, and in the past, honey was more appreciated than today. Because in the past, there was no sugar, all these sweeteners, okay? So honey was something that was very unique and very natural and very organic. So it was very much different from, we enjoyed honey, but we have also syrup and many other things. We have lost that kind of appreciation. So when, for example, Hazrat Qasim said, "Ahla min al-asal," at that time it's very different from today. We say "Ahla min al-asal." Okay, so someone very much enjoys honey, but if he's told that inside this honey there is poison, then he's not going to enjoy. Okay? Someone who doesn't know enjoys, says it's honey. But if someone knows that there is something mixed with this, he's not going to enjoy. كما يصير العسل مكروها عند من يشتهي إذا عرف أن فيه سما. Someone who enjoys honey, if knows that there is poison inside, is not going to enjoy completely. فتحترق الشهوات بالخوف. So shahawat will be burnt by fear. وتتأدب الجوارح, and your organs will be disciplined when there is fear. Then someone who has fear also has muraqabah, monitors himself, watches himself. In Munajat al-Sha'baniyah, we have very beautiful passages towards the end. All of it's beautiful, but some unique passages towards the end. For example, إلهي ألحقني بنور عزك الأبحج فأكون لك عارفا وعن سواك منحرفا ومنك خائفا مراقبا. Oh Allah, please enable me to join your most joyful light, so that I become fully acquainted with you and deviated from anything other than you. وَمِنْكَ خَائِفًا مُرَاقِبًا. I want to be khaif and muraqib. Khaif is fearful. Muraqib means someone who's watching, monitoring himself or herself. So those who are in the condition of khawf, they are very much watching themselves, that if I do something wrong, maybe I will put myself into trouble. Maybe I damage my relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قوة المراقبة والمجاهدة بحسب قوة الخوف. قوة الخوف بحسب قوة المعرفة. So the intensity of your monitoring and watching, it depends on the intensity of fear. Intensity of fear depends on intensity of ma'rifah of Allah and ma'rifah of yourself and your problems. Then he starts talking about the difference between wara' and taqwa and sidq. Inshallah, we can discuss this in the next session. And then after that, we talk about different degrees of khawf and then other topics, inshallah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.